Hello and welcome to Kicking Tires. My name is Jimmy,
And I'm Justin.
and today, Justin is on a Sportage frenzy, as you might see it from his background. But
Hmm.
we got a few cars to talk about today. Chevy, the Corvette Z06. You might have heard of it. We have some news about that. That's going to be a great topic. The Sierra has a huge update, making it quite a bit better than before. Honda's going to SEMA with a bunch of cars and one really amazing crate engine. So we'll talk about that. The Sportage, we're going to chat about that a little bit. And the 2022 Range Rover has been fully released. Or is it the 2021? No one knows because it looks the same. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's start talking about the Corvette first. So the Z06. So GM, or I guess Chevrolet calls this, it elevates the American supercar. And you know what? They're absolutely on point on that.
Yeah.
This
Can't
this
deny that.
this Corvette. Okay, so the Stingray when that came out, that's already amazing, right? Everyone loves the Stingray. You can't even get one right now for MSRP because it's such in high demand. The Z06, they take the Z51 package, which is like the performance pack you can get on the Stingray, and they turned up even more. So it's wider, it's meaner, and it has a different heart. There's a 5.5 liter flat pane V8 that cranks out 670 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque. That's the most amount of power in any V8. And the best part,
Naturally aspirated.
naturally aspirated V8 for sure. Best part, 8,600 RPM redline. Like it's a screamer.
Yeah, it sounds so good. It's not like crazy high pitched, not quite like, Ferrari
Ferrari.
F1 kind of high pitch, but it's a nice, really nice, very exotic sounding vehicle. And it's just crazy that GM they're called the Gemini engine because if you see it, I think you can pull up a picture of the LT6 engine just down there. Uh, you can see why it's called Gemini because it's twin everything. I think twin fuel pumps, like all the intake, the headers, everything is just kind of symmetrical like that. And it just got a unique look to it. But it's crazy that they're putting so much research and development into one engine like this, and to push that kind of power in a naturally aspirated setup. That is insane. That's well over 100 horsepower. I don't want to do the math, but it's well over 100 horsepower per liter. And it's got a good amount of torque too, meaning it's going to drive really nice. Naturally
Right.
aspirated, high horsepower, medium torque engine. Because that's the problem with the old ones with the forced induction is it's just too much torque. You can't put it down. You end up in a tree, or a ditch, or whatever. And I say that even with the LT1 motor, it was still a bit too much low end torque. Uh, Going naturally aspirated, I think, is the right move to make the car just more enjoyable. I think Corvette's got this whole time gotten away with putting kind of a modified truck engine into their cars. Be it adding a supercharger and what have you. Even though it's dry sump and all this engineering behind it, they're legitimate performance cars, but this definitely takes it to that next level, and it legitimately now competes with the likes of Lamborghini, McLaren, Ferrari, um, regardless of the price.
Mhm. Well, the price hasn't been announced, but they did tell us a lot about the specific parts that were changed between the Stingray and the Z06. So I'll just go through that so that way we just get a little bit more understanding. So there's an 8-speed dual clutch, which is the same as a Stingray, but the final drive is shorter now for better acceleration, which is crazy because the Stingray's acceleration is already insane. I can't imagine what this would be, and I also can't imagine what the next step, the Z01, because the Z01's gonna come. They're probably gonna strap turbos to this engine and make like 800 horsepower, right? That's the
Mhm.
obvious next step. and that's even going to be more insane. But it comes with MagRide along with the ELSD. The suspension itself is about 35% stiffer than the Z51 package. And if you go with the Z07 package, which is the performance pack on the Z06, you can get that even 8% higher. The brakes are bigger, 14.6 inch with 6 pistons in the front, 15-inch with 4 pistons in the rear. And if you get the Z07 package, you get even bigger brakes that are carbon ceramics. Wheels, they're 20-inch on the front, 10-inch wide, 21-inch in the rear, 13-inch wide, wearing 275 in the front and 345 in the rear. And if you get the Z06 package, you can get the carbon fiber wheels along with Pilot Sport Cup 2Rs. This is they're lighter wheels, just a ridiculous amount of grip on those Pilot Cup or Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires.
Mhm.
This is going to be one of the best performance cars you can buy. Like, it's going to outperform like GT3 RS. It's going to outperform a lot of Ferraris, McLarens out there. And it's, at your local Chevy dealership.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this is it's already race proven, right? The C8R is what this engine is based on, and so the C8R has proved its worth in what American Le Mans and some other race series. So it's based off a legitimate race car. Sport Cup 2Rs, not really a street tire. Sport Cup 2 was already borderline, and that's what you got on previous Corvettes, but Cup 2Rs are just basically track only. But yeah, the look is so much nicer. I mentioned this before when we kind of started teasing the Z06, was that I always thought the C8 needed the wide body. I thought it just lacked a little something to make it quite as pretty proportionally as the actual or the old school brands and their traditional supercar offerings. With the Z06 package, that just changes everything. I wouldn't be surprised to see this high 100,000 range, close to where kind of the NSX was. I wouldn't be surprised. And honestly, for the R&D you're getting behind this, it's totally worth it, I think. Because we're talking 911 GTS money probably. I don't think it will exceed 200,000 for a Z06 at least, at least MSRP wise. The first one is going to go for an insane amount of money to charity, as always with any domestic kind of special model. They love that. I don't know why, but the first one is going to be like triple or quadruple MSRP, and then it's going to make a big fuss about it. But yeah, 345 section width tires. The C7 generation had 335s, so they just up the size just slightly, so that just makes it harder to stock tires for both for air distributors. No, that's not why, but 345, that's awesome. Yeah.
I also like the fact that it's available in both coupe as well as convertible. So like, yes, I get the Z06. It's really like it's their performance version, right? Like, it's track focused. But for those who just want, that flat pane V8, something high performance, but you still want to enjoy yourself, you can get a convertible, and the experience is that much more different, right? We said this before in a lot of our convertible vehicles. You don't need like a crazy amount of power, but if you do, it's kind of nice. It's just nice that Corvette's giving you that, and you get a bunch of different interior color choices along with this like red one, which is basically the entire vehicle inside is red.
Yeah, because the normal Stingray you could get red seats, but now with the Z06 you can get even more carbon and even more red. I just wonder if red is going to age like blue kind of did back in the 80s and 70s.
Well, there was red back then as well.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know if like a full red interior is just that pleasing to the eyes long term, right? Especially over the years. who knows what it will look like. Um,
Speaking of the interior, though, the interior of the Stingray is already pretty good. For the Z06, it didn't really do too much other than the steering wheel itself. You get a carbon fiber wheel, or at least carbon fiber on the top and bottom, whereas the regular one, it's leather. That looks fine, but with all Corvettes, you get this kind of crazy, almost octagonal shaped steering wheel. It's just because, though, there's a cluster behind it, and they want to make sure that you're still able to see on the road. So it's just a more weird shape, I guess, but it looks good to me. I think this entire car, inside and out, looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
such a winner.
Yeah, the canards on the front with the Z07 package just makes the front end just so much more aggressive. That rear wing isn't like stupid looking. Like, we're always worried, like, when manufacturers put a wing on a car, it could look a little out of place. This doesn't. This looks like it's meant to go there. We'll see what the Z01 looks like, but for Z06 anyways, this looks proper.
Yeah, except the carbon fiber wheels, as I always say about carbon fiber wheels, they never look good. Like, it looks so plain compared to the rest of the car, and the normal aluminum alloy wheels look better, in my opinion. They may not offer you the same performance, but it's not a race car; it's a street car.
Well, if you want, you can hit up American Racing and get some of those old school, the 5-spoke
torque thrust.
Yeah, that
no, they won't clear the carbon ceramics.
It's fine. We'll downgrade the brakes so that you can put the wheels
Just slap
on there.
enough spacers on there to clear.
But that's really all I got about the Z06 here. Anything else you want to share?
Not yet. Not right now. Yeah. On the Corvette.
Let's talk about the Sierra 1500. We talked about this before. The 1500, GMC makes good trucks. They've been number 2 for a long time, but Ram took over when they introduced their
number 2.
Then new 1500. But for 2022, they are definitely upgrading the Sierra, and it's a very, very worthy upgrade. So the interior has been completely refreshed. It looks very similar to the Silverado that was announced a week or two ago. The front end has been updated a little bit as well, and you get 2 new trims, an AT4X as well as a Denali Ultimate trim. The AT4X is basically the ZR2 in a Sierra. So you still get the Multimatic spool valve dampers, locking front and rear
differentials.
Diffs, yep. I wrote dampers on my notes. So I was reading that, I was like, why do you want to lock your dampers? That's weird. You still get 18-inch blacked out wheels with Duratrack mud terrains on there. Like, it definitely looks the part. It looks really, really cool. But I think, the luxury side of GMC, most of those people will probably step towards that Denali Ultimate, which comes with like 22-inch wheels, adaptive dampers, like full leather interior with open pore wood, with suede headliner, massaging seats, and Super Cruise.
Yeah, and you better like the Denali map, because that theme is just reiterated all over the interior if you get that Denali Ultimate package. So the I guess the wood trim and the dash and all that, it's just maps. Yeah, it looks okay though. I think it looks pretty cool.
I think it looks great. I don't have any problems about this interior. Like, comparing to the one that you can buy now, which looks like a Fisher Price toy. Like, this,
and I don't think it's just compared to the current one, okay? Because that doesn't mean too much, I think, to say you're buying a new truck in 2022. But the thing is, compared to the Ram, compared to the F-150, compared to the Tundra and the Titan, I think this is now number 1. I know you like that Ram screen. I'm over it.
No,
the Ram was gimmicky. I think this is going to age well.
I want to see them in person before I judge, because the interiors, a lot of times when in photos they look great, but when you're when you're there in person, the materials may not feel as good as you think they do. For example, in the brand new Honda Civic, in photos they look amazing, but when you're inside, there's some cheaper plastics around, and you just don't see it, in photos. So I gotta see it, and then I can judge from there. But I gotta admit, this is pretty close to contender as a number one kind of interior next to the Ram. I think Ram in this is going to have one of the best in-class interiors that you can get on these trucks. In terms of the engine options, they dropped the 4.3 liter V6. Let's be honest, no one really wanted that anyways. They increased the torque on the 2.7 inline four, so that's going to be the base engine. You can still get the 5.3 V8 as well as the 6.2 V8, along with the Duramax 3 liter inline six as well. So, you still have plenty of engine options across all of the Sierras. What's nice of the diesel Sierra, you can now tow 13,200 pounds with that optional trailer package. Before it was only like 9,000 something, but let's be honest, anything over 10,000, it's a lot of weight for these not light duty, but kind of non-heavy duty pickups. But I gotta admit that AT4X, it looks mean.
They both look really good. I think in their own ways they look.
Yeah.
Because I look at the Ram and the F-150, the luxury models, and they look tacky to me. And this just looks more cohesive. Maybe because we're used to seeing the Yukon Denali, and I see some of that theme carry over to this. That it's just a more natural transition. But I look at like a F-150 Platinum, and I'm like, this is so tacky. Like this is so like Walmart luxury. It's kind of how I feel about some of those higher end. What's the Ram Limited? Or
Ram is limited, yeah.
Yeah. But I like this look. Like it's not trying to be something it's not. It looks like a GMC. They didn't just, but GMC's thing over the years has been to slap a lot of chrome on. So that's why the chrome now just feels comfortable,
normal.
It just feels natural.
Yeah.
But I don't think they've overdone it. Like the grill is huge, but there's also a lot of openings in there, so it's not just one big wall of chrome. And then they didn't slap like a big piece of chrome on the back or brush aluminum, whatever that Ford does with their
on the
fancy
tailgate.
It's so tacky. Yeah.
Actually, I really like that piece. You may remember when you first got your F-150, I told you, I was like, hey, you should get that piece for your truck. But I wanted the satin one that you can get with the
platinum.
No, the cowboy
King Ranch
one. Yeah. I like the tailgate of that one.
The cowboy version.
I can't remember what it's called, but it had the cowboy theme. But yeah, I think the Sierra looks great. It's finally a contender, well-rounded truck comparing to the Ram as well as the F-150.
Yeah.
Tundra, yes, Tundra's there. There's going to be people that's going to be buying the Tundra. It's not going to outsell this. Let's be honest, it's not.
No, and even seeing the Tundra as we have, because they've mostly shown, the top of the line Tundra. It's not impressive. Like I don't think it blows anyone away.
Yeah.
The hybrid stuff is kind of cool. The TRD stuff, there's some nice upgrades there, but then I don't know if there is like that broad appeal to that truck. Like it just feels like some compromises here and there. Like the interior just doesn't look up to this level, right? So yeah, I think Sierra ultimately is going to be like a volume leader, and hopefully GM's worked out some of the kinks with their engine, because I know last year and this year we've seen some issue, and GM kind of always was supposed to be that dependable, very likable car. Like it's inoffensive, and then now they kind of, I guess they kind of push the boundaries with their multi-cylinder deactivation
Yeah,
and
it
stuff like that.
it's
And
wonderful technology, but
yeah.
if it works,
Mhm.
I had the 6.2 V8
Yeah,
Sierra
so efficient.
Denali, and I drove it from my house, which is in Burnaby, to Coquitlam. Not far, like it was 20 minutes or so, but it was in dead of winter, so it was quite cold, like 0 degrees freezing temperature. And I average under 10 liters per 100 kilometers, which I've never seen in a truck.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I think truck buyers tend to be a little bit more practical,
Yeah.
and that's a problem with the eco diesel too, right? Is that you may save some money in the short term, but in the long term, if you have to buy a new engine for it after 4 years, it will cost you way more. Like, it's
That's
not worth that
that's
savings at the pump.
that's why you buy the extended warranty.
You kind of have no choice but to buy an extended warranty on some of these trucks. But even then, they will look for excuses to deny warranty.
Let's be honest. These high end trucks, they're $100,000 trucks. That's how much the Denali Ultimate's gonna be. It's gonna
Mhm.
be like 100K. That like if you're spending 100K, what's a little bit more for a warranty, right?
But what's a little bit more fuel too, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's
kind of
also
like
true.
the trade-off. I'd rather have a car that runs than a car that's you know
Yeah.
slightly more efficient. I need it to work. I need to be able to
Well,
go places.
that's why
Um,
Toyota Tundra is there to give you both a dependable as well as efficient V6 with the hybrid powertrain on that brand new
Perhaps.
Tundra.
We
Yes.
don't know if that's reliable yet.
I mean, let's be honest. If a Toyota's not reliable, hell's gonna freeze over, right?
The first year, I would still wait.
Gotta wait.
Yeah, especially with the all new powertrain, all new infotainment, anything like that. I don't think Toyota is that guaranteed. Even with the Rav4, first year hybrid, a lot of little gremlins, but stuff that drove people nuts. If you got stuck with that, then there goes your whole brand loyalty. I think. Like,
Yeah.
if you had a leaky Rav4 or one that you couldn't fill the fuel tank, like,
I had that problem. I was like, oh, I thought I filled it up. And then the gas
it's
gauge
still,
wasn't. I was like, it was still empty.
yeah,
I was like, oh, what's going on? It's
like,
weird.
yeah.
But let's talk about Honda. So Honda released some of their vehicles that they're going to be bringing into SEMA. SEMA for 2021 is November 2nd to the 5th, so it's coming right up. But Honda has released some amazing cars that they're going to bring there. They have two race cars, two Civic Si race cars with a bunch of modifications from like Ibach, RV6, Pirelli, like whole bunch of things. Like there's a big list on their website that you can take a look at. But I'm not interested in that. I don't care about the two racing Civic SIs, the Team Liquid Civic hatchback. I mean, it looks good, sure. There's an HPD Civic Si, sure, whatever, HPD body kit. But they also paired up with 1552 for a Project 96 Accord wagon. Ooh, this Accord wagon, let me tell you about it. So they started off as a 96 Honda Accord wagon, which, it's pretty commuter type vehicle. Then they slapped in a K20C. That's the same engine as the Civic Type R. And the reason why they slapped it in there is because Honda's going to be start to sell this K20C, this Civic Type R motor, as a crate engine, only for off-road use. So it's only for racing or whatever else. You can't use it in your next, whatever daily build that you want to do. But this car looks amazing. It's full BTCC livery look on it. It really gives me like the 90s throwback vibes. It's gonna have 300 horsepower, like sure. Like I don't care, but it just looks so cool.
Yeah, that livery is awesome on that one. I'm
They
surprised. I'm looking at the race cars now, the Civic Si, going back to those.
mhm.
One's got Momo wheels, which I thought was kind of an interesting choice, and one's got Titan 7s. Titan 7, kind of a, you know, working in the wheel industry a little bit, Titan 7 is kind of like a rep brand in a sense. It's a few race drivers run them, but they're kind of a Chinese, outsourced wheel company. Like, you just buy enough of this mold, you order enough, and this company in China will make them for you. The problem with Titan 7 is they've been accused of fraudulent stamping on their wheels. JWL, VIA, they were never tested, and they just sent them out, stamped them with it, and then hope that no one catches them. Not saying they're bad wheels, but I'm like, from a Honda factory level to be using Titan 7, I'm like, okay, because they're a good 20. They're probably about 30% cheaper than like a Ray's Volk forged wheel. They're the cheapest forged wheel you can get. So I thought that was kind of an interesting choice, just from my perspective, just my
That is
2
interesting.
cents. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Momo, obviously one of the OG brands, but kind of not that popular anymore.
No, you
Yeah.
definitely don't see it. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember I saw Momo in Fast and Furious, the original one, when Ja Rule had the Momo
On his
Integra Type R.
DC2. Yeah.
Or Integra, not even Type R, just a regular, probably an Integra LS.
Yeah.
The maybe not as interesting, but some people may want to look into it, is their Passport Trail Sport Rugged Roads project. They took their Passport, they gave it some tires, and then that's about it. Oh, there's a pop-up tent.
Yeah.
That's
They didn't
really
even give it good tires. They gave it Firestone Destiny. Like, I don't know who runs these projects, but I would love to be on these teams and just like give them what people actually want. Like, no one wants Firestone Destination AT2s. No one goes out of their way and picks that tire. Like, it's just basic market research that you
Yeah,
don't just pick the cheapest tire off the shelf that you can get. And the sizing sucks too. Like, it's just stock sizing.
it's stock size. Yeah,
It
I think
looks so dorky on the Ridgeline, especially. The Trail Sport looks okay, like the sizing looks okay, but the Ridgeline, it's like such a
yeah,
the wheel well is huge, and then you
265.
have a little tire in there.
What I found was interesting is they did give a suspension lift for the Ridgeline. It's a 1.5-inch lift on the front, 0.75 in the back, but it doesn't look like it because they put a bike in the back, which weighs the back end down. And it just doesn't look like it's been lifted.
I think it's to compensate for all the added weight. They have to add the
Yeah. And then they also have an African twin overland bike as well, which has a bunch of boxes on it for your next overland trip if you want to take a bike off road. I mean, it's definitely cool. It's cool to see, Honda back in SEMA. It's been actually, were they there last year? I can't recall. But it's certainly cool to have OEMs there just to show off, what they can do.
Let's look at the HPD Civic Si for a second.
Orange one?
Yeah, not this one, not the race car, but the street car, the one that you might see in your dealership. Because I think it's pretty uninspired, if you ask me.
So, okay, HPD stands for Honda Performance Development, which is their new thing that they're calling. Used to be called Honda Factory Performance, HFP. And HFP made some beautiful pieces for the Civic, Accord, some other stuff as well. They had always nice pieces, but you're absolutely right. On the 2022 Civic, the HPD package that you can get, it looks just like a little bit of lipstick on the front.
Yeah, they just gave it
Inside,
black
that's really
accents
it.
everywhere. Like, it's not very aggressive. It's not, I don't know. Like, to me, I just don't know who this is for, right? Like, if you're into tuning, this is not going to inspire you. This is for like the 50-something-year-old guy that wants to reconnect with his
youth.
Fast and Furious youth. They're like, oh, I could never afford a Honda tuner car at the time. somehow. And this is what this is.
You know what's interesting? That HBD front lip, it's not a full lip. They're just little
It's just a
pieces
little
off to the
corner
side.
winglet.
There's nothing in the middle.
And nothing at the corners too.
Yeah, it's
The
really weird.
wheels look really generic too.
Okay. The stock wheels look better than these. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, that's the sad part, right? They
Um,
went and made their own molding for this wheel, and it just dropped the
yeah,
ball on it. I think I don't know how much that costs to make an OE wheel like that, but and how much a parts department is going to sell you that wheel for. But damn, that is a really uninspired looking car.
my brother-in-law, he had an 8th gen Civic Si, and he wanted to buy HFP kit for it. Um, even a rep kit, being that car was a 2009, I think. 12 years later, buying a rep kit, full kit, was still $1,500.
Nice. Because people want it. No
Exactly.
one wants it.
In the same amount of years from now, I don't think anyone's willing to, even make a replica of this.
Yeah. It will be expensive, but because the supply is so low, no one ever ordered it, no one stocked it. So that's why this will be expensive 10 years down the road.
Yeah. Can we buy K20 C1 for our next project?
For our off-road build?
Yeah. I mean, it's for off-road use, right?
No, they overheat.
It's fine.
Ooh.
It's fine. Well,
actually, the crate does not come with cooling.
yeah, so we can deal with our own cooling on it.
Yeah.
Oversized rad, it'll be okay.
Yeah. K20C, okay. Maybe, okay, I want to rant a little bit about the K20C1 now that we have it here. Is that I have never seen an OE engine. No, Nissan VQ. No, Subaru STI. Okay, Japanese manufacturers are really bad at this, making an OE performance car that does not overheat. Right? You get into any Porsche, BMW, if you leave it stock, you'll be okay. But these will overheat and max out their temp gauges in stock form. You don't even have to be like a crazy fast driver. Like casual driving, like I think even at a typical press event that goes to the track, you will overheat these cars. Well, a Type R, that is. And that just blows me away that in stock form, you can, with stock tires, you have enough grip and speed that it's not built for it. And I don't know why Japanese manufacturers cannot get this right. None of them make Supra is decent, but that's not really doesn't really count.
Yeah,
TR86 also good, but that's NA. But once you get to this 300 horsepower level, it's like they don't know how to cool them down fast enough. Yeah. So
S2000's okay.
It's 240 NA horsepower, and it's only 240 with zero torque. So
it had
kind of
151 pound-feet.
Yeah, and
sometimes.
the engine bay was half the car, so
it was quite large.
That was the other issue, right? So
yeah. Definitely some issues, but I'm just excited.
I'm curious how the K20C1 crate motor.
I'm curious how much it'll be.
Oh, true.
Right, because if it's not that much, it would be a decent swap. I mean, a lot of people are still buying K20s and K24s, either as just by themselves or Frankenstein.
I see it.
Oh, there's a price on it?
Oh, but this is from Mountune USA.
Oh, no, that's right. Because that's where you can buy them from.
Oh, okay. It's 7,000 US basically.
Oh, that
doesn't come with anything else though.
Okay, for an OE engine.
Ooh, they're calling.
Ooh.
Do we want to take this call? We'll take this call.
Okay, we'll take the call.
Hey, it's Justin speaking.
Justin?
Yeah.
Hi, it's John Pacheco with Midway Management.
Hey, yes.
Yeah, my manager mentioned that you'd like to know some information on the 04 RAV4.
Oh, yeah. There was no price on there, so we're just wondering.
89.50.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, no worries. Thanks for calling though.
Okay, what price were you thinking?
About 65. Yeah.
That's the way things are right now.
Yeah. No, I was just I looked at everyone on the market. I'd never seen one over 8, so of this generation. Yeah. That's why there's no price.
89.
85 or
Oh,
89. I
I
can't
think
even
it was
remember. I'm like starting with the 8.
8950.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's not even including dock fee.
Yeah. Oh God. You're like, okay, if it's
Yeah.
like low 5, we'll go and get it.
Yeah, even if it's mid 6s, we'll consider it. But man, should we tell the audience what that was about?
Okay, so we just have a live call from a local Mazda dealership, which has a 2002, was it, Toyota RAV4 on sale?
04, I think.
04?
Manual transmission too. Like the only manual transmission RAV4 on the market. I mean, we don't care what transmission it has. I don't mind manual, but manuals are not worth as much because you're buying. I don't know. I don't think it's worth as much, at least
It shouldn't
for
be
this
worth
kind
as
of
much.
commuter car, because the market is so much smaller. And I even listed out every RAV4 of the second generation for sale, and they range from 4,500 to the most expensive listed price was $8,000, and they're asking 9 for it. Like that is insane. It's a nice color, it's a nice shape, but it's not worth double
No.
what the one that we were looking at was.
So this is for our kicking tires overland off-road project.
Yeah.
This is our 3rd week, I think.
Yeah,
the
we
3rd week
almost had a car today, and
we
it got swiped under the rug from us this morning.
we were supposed to go look at a car live and purchase it, and then we're supposed to put it on the well, basically a live video for everyone, so everyone can see that we bought a Suzuki SX4. Yes, the little SX4. We found one for $3,000, and we thought it would be a hilarious little project.
Apparently,
But-
we were not the only ones that thought it was a good buy because we
Yeah.
failed.
So we have a few more things lined up, but I guess we'll see next week. What happens, and we'll go from
Keep
there.
in your recommend. If you know a friend that has a crossover SUV, anything like that, all-wheel drive, cheap, under $6,000, I guess.
Under $4,000.
Really depends. Yeah, preferably under 4. Not 9 for sure.
No, I don't want to spend 9 on a 2004 RAV4. That's a lot of money.
I know. And you know what? I bet this dealership paid like 4 for it.
Oh, no, the dealership pay like 2 for it.
Yeah, they want you to think well, no. Okay, so I do know dealers are offering really good values right now,
That's also true.
and they will take like small margins, but $9,000, like you're out. You've I don't know. They're out of their mind because there is truly low mileage RAV4s, like $118,000. Very nice second gen RAV4.
118,000 kilometers, not thousands.
Kilometers, yeah.
1,000.
118 kilometer RAV4, so super low mileage. There's 2 of them under 8,000,
Yeah.
and here we have a dealership with a manual one. Like, not in this market. Like, I'll bleep myself there, but shut the up, because I don't know. Dealership kind of nuts these days, and I get it. Sales guys are jaded. Okay, I have a few friends in the industry, and it's like you can sell new cars, but you don't know if they'll ever arrive, and you don't even know if you're going to be still working there when that customer takes delivery. So it's just such a toxic environment right now. But yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And the part that pisses me off is that they did not put a price on this car. Right?
Yeah, which sometimes could mean it's a good deal, or sometimes it could be it's dumb.
Yeah, it's a fair price or whatever. Because like literally, I listed out every one, like mileage, transmission, color, year, and like this one, I'm like, okay, if we go by high value, it would be 8, but they're asking 9 for it. I'm like, okay, screw you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Back to the search.
Back to the search, and maybe our search will lead us to something like this.
Like this. points, or
The-
this, or this
So
points at my background.
what we're looking at is a brand new 2023 Kia Sportage.
Sportage.
But the one that we can afford is probably like a 97 or 02.
02, 07, maybe.
Yeah, like something a lot older. But this one's actually okay. So we're quite different on this. We talked previously how no Kia looks the same. They don't have brand identity, and I get that. Looking at this, it doesn't look like a Kia at all. There's nothing about it that says it's a Kia.
But does
Even
it
the-
at least look like a Sportage?
It
A
doesn't.
Sportage?
It doesn't even have like much of that tiger nose grill anymore. Neither. It really doesn't. But as a car, I think this looks good, and because it's
This one does.
Yeah. So this is the exact same as the Tucson that's from Hyundai. So Hyundai and the Hyundai Tucson and the Sportage, they're basically brothers, sisters, or cousins. Brothers, sisters? Anyways, they're basically the same car. Just different sheet metal and different interior and whatnot. But I really like this over the Tucson. The Tucson is very edgy, that new one, right? It's super like jagged edges. And this looks more like a regular car, but they have this X line,
X Pro.
Or X Pro,
X Pro
which
version.
has these knobby off-road wheels and tire package on it. It looks quite rugged.
Okay,
I mean, I'm sure it's not, but
the whole press release for this car is talking about the design. Okay, because this generation Sportage is not like really brand new, because we've seen the Tucson and it's actually been sold for a little bit in other markets already. So
the other market ones is actually slightly shorter than the ones that we get here in North America.
Yeah, but the styling is kind of what their big claim to fame is with this press release on this Sportage 2023 model. It's got the Kia opposites united design philosophy, or opposites attract, however you want to, but I just think it's just so bizarre. The X Pro looks kind of cool, not gonna deny that. The X Pro model, like all these other off-roady looking vehicles we've talked about this year especially, looks kind of cool. I think the normal one looks okay. I don't think it's that bad from the front, but the rear is just, there's so much going on. It's so, the taillight design is so odd, and then you have just so many different shapes happening. There's an underbite in the back. I don't know. It's just it's way too busy in the back for me, and it's not going to age well, just like the previous Sportage. This one right here, the really bulbous alien-looking one
with the headlights on the top.
Yeah, with the headlights on top. That some people might like it, some people, but it just doesn't look timeless. Like, look at this one from 20 years ago almost, and it's aged gracefully. Even this one, the 2011 one, looks decent. It still looks good, but this one looks good right now. The 2023 looks good right now. It's a huge car too. Like, okay, we're talking about how a lot of the press release is like, okay, well, in this segment, it's the biggest of this segment because it grew 7 inches. Like, that is not that is that is a difference between a Highlander and a RAV4. Like 7 inches. It's no longer in that same segment anymore as this one, or this one. It's the Santa Fe now. Like, it's what we used to know as the Santa Fe or the Sorrento now.
Actually, it's funny that you point that out. I recently did a Tucson, and I also recently drove a Santa Fe. The Tucson and the Santa Fe interior is basically the same in terms of size. The Tucson actually has slightly bigger rear seats than the Santa Fe. And the Tucson is one step down.
We're no longer in the compact space, because if you grow 70 or 7 inches, it's not small anymore. I do like what they've done with the interior. I can't, like, there's nothing that comes close to this interior,
Yeah.
including the Tucson. I think this interior is so much nicer in a Tucson, but the styling exterior wise, just
Yeah.
it's so wild. I don't think it's bad necessarily, especially in this X Pro trim. But and there's the X Pro Prestige. I think there's also too many trims for one. Like there is the where is my list here? There's the LX, the EX, the SX, SX Prestige, X line, the X Pro Prestige, and then some are available in all-wheel drive, some are available in front-wheel drive. So there's going to be over 10 different trim levels, which that is not the trend anymore, right? We're trying to nowadays manufacturers are trying to get that down to less less stuff you have to stock, because now you know how hard it is to stock cars, and it just makes it, when you have these little niche trims, I think it's just going to make it hard for dealerships and customers as well to kind of land on one car. It's oh, maybe I like this about that one, I like this one about that one, but this one sold out, so I got to get this one. Yeah, just give like 4 trim levels max, I think is good.
I think in Canada is going to be different, but there's no information of it on the Canadian website just yet.
I see.
In the US, they generally have more trims than we do here. We just have specific ones. I don't think we're going to have the 3 different X Pros. I think it's going to be one, and then the top trim of the X Pro, and then the SX would be the top trim. Basically, what we do right now. There's no middle ground for that. That's what I think, anyways. Something funny about the X Pro that they have. So the X Pro is their off-road version, right? They ditched the 19-inch wheels that's available on the regular one, and you get these 17-inch blacked out off-road wheels and BF AT tires. But that's the only thing about it that they say is off-road.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, like, this is off-road hardware to match the design elements. It's really just some
Wheels
nicer
and tires.
fog lights and then wheels and tires. And the tires are okay. The tires, they don't mention it, but I know which tire they're using. It's the BF Goodrich Trail Terrain, which is a brand new model. It's been out for all of 1 month. It's a brand new model. We don't know how good it is, but this is to compete with the AT Trails that Falcons put out there. So it is like, again, one of those off-road looking tires that yeah, it's a trail crossover tire that is meant to look good.
Is it as bad as the Honda ones where it looks really good on the outside?
I think it's better than the Honda one.
Okay.
It's better than the Destination LE2 that the HPD one we talked about earlier has.
Okay.
It looks a little bit more off-road than that. At least the tread is kind of off-roady, but it's not quite as aggressive looking as the AT Trails that some other manufacturers are using. So that is literally it. Like, it's the same size from all I can tell. I don't think it's any taller than the normal one. The all-wheel drive models are 1.5 inches taller than the front wheel drive. I don't know if that's from suspension or something about the clearance, like how stuff is packaged, because that's minimum ground clearance. So we don't know where that 1.5 inch is coming from necessarily. It's not that clear in the press release. I think it looks cool. It is probably the most rugged looking in this segment. Obviously, there's RAV4 Trail,
RAV4 Trail,
Forester
TRD
Wilderness, maybe?
yeah.
But the Forester Wilderness, okay, the Forester Wilderness, if we're gonna compare it to this, I don't know. How do you stand on the Forester Wilderness?
I just think the Forester, all new Foresters are underpowered.
That is the obstacle, I think, with the Forester Wilderness and the price point.
Yeah.
But that is probably the most capable of this segment. Well, of the Asian manufacturers. We're not Bronco Sport, Jeep, whatever, Cherokee. Those are way up there in terms of capability. But if we're gonna compare with the Asian manufacturers,
in terms of CUV that has kind of that kind of off-road look, but not actual off-road backing, like the Bronco Sport and the Jeep has. But I don't know. I think it's fine. We'll wait for this to come out, and we can definitely talk a little bit more about it then.
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about the Range Rover.
Talked a little
Because
bit about this last week. It is exactly what we thought it would be.
yeah, the leaks were true.
Hmm.
It's exactly the same in terms of its looks, other than the rear end, but it is smooth over. Like every single panel is very, very, very smooth. There is a 5-passenger, a 4-passenger, as well as a 7-passenger variant of the new Range Rover. It's longer. The longer wheelbase version is also longer than before, so you get more space in the rear. It's powered by a BMW V8. I read that not on the press release because they wouldn't want to tell you that is a BMW V8, but it is a BMW V8. It's quite nice. The interior has been thoroughly updated. You get the Bentley style or Rolls Royce style seats on the tailgate as well, a feature that I would love on our overlanding vehicle. So
We
I really
can
want
make
this
that
tailgate.
with $40 of IKEA Facebook Marketplace finds.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want. The interior is very seamless. I really like the new screen that they have in the center, and the screen is actually curved, like it's curved down a little bit, so it's kind of weird looking, but it looks nice. You got open pore wood. It's just a very elegant vehicle.
But it's the same as last year's. Like it's an update in terms of the styling, interior design language. Everything just looks very similar as before, but a lot softer.
Mhm.
And that's kind of my fear that would happen with the Range, but because the original Range Rover is something very different from what it is now. And that's the car that kind of I don't know. I thought that was kind of the do everything car.
Mhm.
It just had such a and it was genuine luxury. It's not like a G wagon where you give it a nice leather interior and then you call it a luxury car. But the previous Range Rovers were all very capable, and we just don't see them marketing this one as such.
No.
Even just in this press release alone, it's all about the interior now.
Yeah.
And I
They
feel like that kind of, it's like, where is the Range or the Rover?
so
Like,
on the end of the press release, literally the end of it, they do have 3 pictures of it, one on a dirt trail and one on the sand dune and one on the snow. So, I mean, there's very small bits of it that's still the Range Rover past, but definitely not as much as before. Because Range Rover like websites or brochures, you would see like the Discovery, that yellow Discovery that went cross countries, and that was like what was very prominent in every single brochure. I remember seeing that before, but you're not going to see that anymore. And that's a full departure, right? This is not to compete against off-road vehicles anymore. This is to compete against a
the
Bentley, the Cullinan. That's what it's,
GL,
GLS.
EX7,
Yeah,
GLS. Yeah.
yeah. I mean that's fine in my opinion, because if you really want an off-roady Land Rover, there's other vehicles for you. But this is just so elegant compared to before, and everything they've gone that extra step to make it really, really nice.
Yeah, I think we have to see it in person. I think if it has that road presence, I will let it slide.
I think it does, because in a way it kind of reminds me of like Rolls Royce, right?
Mhm.
Because a Rolls Royce, every single Rolls Royce looks the same. There's really no difference. But when you see it on the road, you're like, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, because they've smoothed it out and they pushed everything out to the edges. I think that will just make it look a little bit bigger in person, which can work to its advantage.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that new twin turbo V8, 0 to 60, 4.4 seconds. Not
New
bad.
twin turbo V8. Twin turbo V8 coming from BMW.
It's
It's
at
not
4.4, I think.
Yes. Not BMW's strongest suit. Like their V8s are not that great in terms of reliability, but It might be a step up for this brand at least.
Hey, if it's one less thing for them to do, one less thing for them to make, right?
One more finger to point.
They did that in the past, and the Range Rovers we are willing to buy. They
Yes,
did
we should
that.
segue into that. Is that should we buy a sub $5,000 Range Rover L322? I think that is the chassis that we're talking about. The 322. Yes, the 322 generation Range Rover, the one that had the luxury and the off-road chops to boot. Classic Range Rover styling. I think that is still the definitive Range Rover in my books. Maybe that's because that was my generation.
So
yeah, like
so
that was
there's
such a desirable car. Like it looks cool. It's nice inside. It's capable.
so there's this one Range Rover that I've been eyeing. It's a 2006 Range Rover for $5,000 that it's selling for. So that's $5,000 Canadian. That's not a lot.
It's half a RAV4 from Midway Mazda.
You get double these cylinders here. So
Mhm.
the reason why I like this one is because it has 300,000 kilometers on it. So you might be saying, oh, you don't want that. You want a low kilometer car. But here's the thing. A Range Rover with low kilometers, it just means that it's broken.
It wasn't driven. It wasn't maintained. Because to
Three-
get a Range Rover to 300,000, you had to put a lot of money into it to go that far.
Exactly. So I'm thinking that this may be worth it because it actually has that much mileage on it. Because like back in 2015, this thing already has 254,000 kilometers on it. Like it's a decently high mileage car. So I mean, might be worth it. It is a US car as well, so there's that. But I don't know. There's something about it that has a lot of charm, and the ad says everything works, which I doubt. But
You can't hold them accountable if it doesn't. But we'll try. And then the cool thing is the map. I was like, is this real? Is this ad for real? Because it's all talking about some dealership in the States. And I'm like, oh, the GPS location is right at my shop. Like it's literally like across the street from like there's this picture of the GPS pinpoint. And I'm like, oh, that's really close to me.
So I also like this other one. It's older. It's a 96 Range Rover with the 4-liter. The reason why I like this one is because this is old school Range Rover, right? This is when BMW bought them. BMW bought them a little bit after 96, I think. But this still has the Range Rover, the Land Rover bits and pieces. So it's old British, which just means that it's gonna break. But it looks pretty clean for $4,200. I mean,
that generation is classic too. I forgot what movie I saw and the dad drove one of those.
There's no check engine lights. Either that or the check engine light is broken.
Yeah, the bulb burned out. That's the only reason.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go over the review this week. It was the Tucson, which we already talked a little bit about. But I do want to hear from you guys. If you have any good suggestions or good leads to SUVs or small pickups, but we really want a SUV, preferably with all-wheel drive. About $4,000 is about what we want to pay. We can pay more, but we want to stay around that mark because we want to do things to it, and we also want to make sure that it stays true to what we kind of want to do, like an underdog type SUV that's able to tackle trails and off-road scenarios that you didn't think were possible. But yeah, anything else, Justin, you want to add?
I'm just sad because of
You couldn't
so
buy
the used car
SX4?
market. Okay, the problem with the used car market right now is that we have used car dealers messing everything up for us. I think because I posted a car for sale recently, and it's just a lot of dealer inquiries because they just want inventory, and they don't, they might be able to make a little bit off you. They just want to buy that, and because they have nothing to sell. And I get it. I get why they're doing it, but it just makes it so hard for us. Like that cars are getting bought,
Left, right, and center.
the first two cars or last three cars that we looked at, they all went really fast. Like we saw it and we're like, we got to get on this. And we did get on it, and it's still, less than 8 hours before we were supposed to meet. And it's like, oh, it's gone. Yeah. I don't know.
There's an
It's a
05
bummer.
X3 for 4750, 154,000 on it.
And hopefully we're doing the right thing here, which is if we're buying high, hopefully we can at least break even or something like that. Because buying in a high market, it's just like I don't know how long it will
Stay that way.
stay high. That
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just checking Craigslist now, as I always do, and I don't see anything of value. Unless you want an X3. You want an X3?
I'm open to it. I've taken my
Did you see
family's
this one?
X3 of this generation to Triangle Beach before, and it did not get stuck.
2005 X3 4750. I mean, it has the
horrendous 4-cylinder front wheel drive, apparently.
Well, yeah, the person doesn't know the car. That's fine. We'll deal with that. But it has
it's an advantage. They don't know.
It's such a bad steering wheel. It's the old E46 wheel. Like I hate the look of that. The seats are the leatherette, which means that they will never wear. That's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a good thing. I mean,
the base engine is just like it's all the maintenance and fuel consumption without the power, because there's a big range in terms of power. Because this 2.5 made like 180 horsepower, whereas a 3.0 SI, which is what my parents had, made 260, and it's like they don't cost any more to maintain.
It's fine. The SX4 we're looking at had 120. All right,
141. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. It's older. It has 120 now.
Yeah.
All right, we'll keep looking. We'll keep searching here. But
thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for everyone for tuning in. But if you do have any leads, let me know. Shoot me a message on Instagram. And yeah, just let me know if there's anything out there. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next week.